Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something that is moving at just a breathtaking speed. And honestly, it's a little scary. We're talking about the explosion of artificial intelligence in K to 12 education. And if you're in education or you have kids in school, you know this isn't some far off future, it's right now.
It's happening today.
Yeah, we're talking about large language models, spitting out lesson plans, adaptive algorithms that create personalized learning paths, even automated grading systems that promise to give teachers their weekends back.
There's this huge wave of technological optimism, a real sense that this could change everything.
But the sources we've been digging into, the policy papers, the reports from the ground, they tell a much more troubling story beneath all that hype. So our mission for this deep dive is to really analyze this urgent, critical need for AI ethics training for educators. We're going to look at the gap, the real-world harms, and then the concrete steps schools need to take, like right now.
And that's the key, because what the sources show is this massive disconnect. You have this flood of AI tools coming into schools, but the people using them, the educators, the vast majority of them worldwide, have no formal training in how these things actually work, let alone the ethics behind them.
The numbers are pretty stark, aren't they?
They are. I mean, when we look at the global data, it's something like 2/3 of all teachers have had zero formal AI preparation. None.
Wow, 2/3.
Think about that. We are handing over the keys to this incredibly powerful educational engine to people who haven't even had a basic safety briefing.
And the training they do get, if they're lucky enough to get any, is almost always just operational.
Exactly. It's tool-focused. Here's which button to click.
Right, here's how to write a good prompt, but completely skipping the critical ethical part, the professional judgment piece.
And that's where it gets urgent.
Sure.
Because you have governments rushing to mandate AI literacy standards.
Yep.
And at the same time, you have the tech companies just prioritizing speed to scale. They want market capture.
Get in there first.
Get in there first. And when those two things collide, it leaves teachers and students just incredibly exposed to harms that are already being documented. We're talking about things like AI-related psychological distress in kids. This isn't theoretical anymore.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's start with the landscape.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the ethics gap, what do we even mean by AI literacy in a school? Because it sounds like it's more than just knowing how to use a chatbot.
Oh, much more. And that distinction is crucial. The sources really break AI literacy down into three connected parts.
Okay.
First, there's the foundational understanding. What is machine learning? How does an algorithm make a decision? Simple stuff like that.
The basics.
The basics. Then second, you have the operational competence we mentioned,
Oh.
actually using the tools. But the third, and this is the most important part, is critical evaluation.
The ability to interrogate it.
Exactly. To ask, is this system biased? Is it fair? Is it transparent? Does it actually align with what I'm trying to teach?
So it's not just using the tool, it's understanding the ghost in the machine and then deciding if that ghost is actually fair.
That's a great way to put it. AI ethics has to be the foundation. It's the reasoning about harm, about accountability, about equity. And the failure right now is that we're conflating literacy with just knowing how to operate the machine.
And the evidence for this deficit, it's everywhere. We mentioned the 2/3 number globally, but it's also that the teachers who are using AI now, the sources say a huge majority are self-taught.
They're figuring it out on their own, trial and error.
Right. Reading blog posts, clicking around. Even in really big, well-funded school systems, educators with actual substantive ethics training are like vanishingly rare. It is a systemic problem.
So why? Why is this happening?
Good question.
Well, the first driver is just pace. AI development is moving so much faster than schools can adapt. I mean, schools plan in years. AI can change fundamentally in a month.
The institutions just can't keep up.
No. Then you have the commercial pressure. Like we said, the goal for companies is user acquisition, not deep user education. They're not incentivized to explain the complex data privacy issues.
And the policymakers are kind of making it worse, right?
In a way, yeah. They issue these mandates, you must teach AI literacy, but then they don't allocate the funding for the massive training that's required to do it right.
So it becomes another unfunded mandate.
And an equity problem.
Yeah.
Because that resource gap means the most vulnerable districts, urban and rural, they're the ones who get left behind again.
Which brings us to the consequences. Let's talk about why this matters first for the school systems themselves. I mean, this is where the liability alarm should be going off for administrators.
Absolutely. The first organizational risk is just Bad purchasing decisions, misaligned tool adoption. Districts buy a tool because the marketing says it'll raise test scores.
Without looking under the hood.
Exactly, without doing any due diligence on algorithmic fairness or data privacy. And the sources show these tools often just fail, or worse, they create a whole new set of problems.
Which leads right into legal exposure. I mean, schools are using AI for really high-stakes decisions.
They are. Things like placement in special education programs, disciplinary actions.
Wow.
Yeah. And if those decisions are based on a black box algorithm and the educators have no idea how to question it, the school is just inviting lawsuits under civil rights law, disability law, you name it.
And then there's what you could call instructional chaos, the erosion of coherence.
Yes, this is a subtle but really damaging one. The student experience gets fragmented. So imagine one teacher uses an AI that rewards writing really fast, fluent essays.
Okay.
But then the next teacher uses an AI fact checker that the kids quickly learn how to game. The skills they're learning are totally at odds. The student's development just falls apart.
And the final one, which might be the hardest to fix once it's broken, is trust.
Diminished stakeholder trust. It can take years to build a good relationship with your community, with parents. And one single high-profile incident, parents finding out their kids' data, is feeding some proprietary algorithm they never agreed to, that can destroy all that trust overnight.
Okay, let's shift from the organization to the individual, the human cost. This is about the students in the classroom and their teachers. This is where the findings in the literature get, frankly, pretty jarring.
They do. One of the most alarming things we found was the clear evidence of AI-related psychological distress. This is not a theory.
It's happening now.
It's happening now. We're seeing documented cases where chatbots gave harmful advice to vulnerable teenagers, or where students felt intense anxiety because they were constantly being compared to some AI-generated standard of perfection. Kids are uniquely vulnerable to this stuff.
That's tough to hear. We think about data privacy, but the idea of a bot causing actual psychological distress, that's a different level. And that connects to this other concept I saw, epistemic harm.
Yes. Epistemic harm is so important. It's about losing confidence in your own ability to know what's true.
So, if an AI keeps giving you answers that sound authoritative but are actually wrong,
and you don't have the skills to spot it, you stop trusting your own judgment. Your own research skills start to atrophy.
you become dependent on the machine to tell you what's real. That is an existential threat to what schools are supposed to be doing.
It is. And it also, of course, maps directly onto existing inequalities. We're seeing inequitable access to human judgment.
What does that mean?
It means in under-resourced schools, AI is often used as a substitute for a human. It replaces a teacher or a counselor they can't afford.
While in wealthier schools?
In wealthier schools, AI is used to augment personalized attention from a human teacher. So the kids who need the most human connection get the least, and the privilege gap just gets wider.
And we can't forget the teachers in this. They experience what the sources call moral distress.
Yes. When they're forced to use a tool that goes against their professional values, like an AI grader that punishes creativity, if they don't have the support to push back, it leads to burnout. It undermines their whole sense of purpose.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. It's a crisis. Now let's pivot to solutions. What does the evidence say we should do? Because it's clear a one-off workshop isn't going to cut it.
Not even close. This has to be sustained, deep engagement. We need comprehensive, ethics-centered professional development. This is a curriculum and instruction problem, not an IT problem.
So what does that curriculum actually look like in practice?
It means things like multi-session courses that build concepts over time. And it has to be grounded in real classroom situations. The sources point to things like case-based learning.
So like here's a real-world dilemma with an AI tool. Let's break it down.
Precisely. Let's analyze an AI writing tool that tends to make every student's voice sound the same. What are the equity implications of that? It makes it real for teachers.
The other thing that sounded really effective was co-design workshops.
Yes. Getting educators, ethicists, and even students in a room together to audit a tool before you buy it. That's a huge shift. It turns teachers from passive users into active investigators.
And it seems like teachers also need specific training in assessment literacies.
Critically important.
Yeah.
They need the skills to see past the vendor's marketing claims. You know, our algorithm is unbiased. And actually evaluate if the tool is pedagogically sound for their kids. The best models for this are year-long co-developed with teachers.
Okay, so you build up the individual capacity, But you also have to fix the system, right? The governance.
You have to. These decisions can't just be made by the IT department anymore. They have to reflect the whole community's values.
Which means AI review boards.
Robust ones.
Yeah.
Not just a rubber stamp. You need teachers, parents, students, and actual tech and ethics experts on that board evaluating tools against clear criteria before a single dollar is spent.
And transparency has to be part of that, a public registry of some kind.
Yes, a public AI registry. As a parent, you should be able to easily find out what AI systems are being used on your child, for what purpose, and with what safeguards. In plain language, no excuses.
And then closing the loop with what are called participatory impact assessments.
Right. This is where you empower students and teachers to actually investigate how a tool is affecting their school in real time. Is this new math app increasing anxiety? Is it reinforcing biases? That creates real accountability.
Which brings us to the students. We have to be teaching them to be active investigators, too, not just passive consumers.
That's the end goal.
Oh.
And it can't just be in one computer science class.
It has to be everywhere, cross-curricular.
Exactly. Talk about AI bias in your humanities class. Explore data collection in science. Critique AI-generated images in art class. It has to be woven into the fabric of their education.
And giving them a voice in the policy itself.
Yes. Co-designing the rules. When students and teachers decide together when it's okay to use an AI for a first draft versus when it's cheating, you get real ownership of the ethics.
So to wrap all this up, for this to be sustainable, school leaders have to be really mindful of the psychological contract with their staff.
They do. This integration has to align with the core mission of education nurturing human potential, not be seen as a threat to it.
So leaders need to be honest about the real concerns, about surveillance or jobs, instead of just dismissing them.
Be transparent and distribute the leadership. Empower your teacher leaders. Formalize student voice. That's how you build a resilient ethical culture.
This has been a really essential deep dive. The takeaway for me is just crystal clear. This AI ethics gap isn't some future problem. It's a crisis right now with real human consequences. The time for schools to act was yesterday. It has to be about thoughtful, ethical implementation, not just speed.
And I think the final thought to leave everyone with is this. The students in our classrooms today are going to inherit a world completely shaped by AI. And the critical question we have to answer is, will they be passive consumers of algorithms they don't understand? Or will they be critical, informed participants who know how to shape ethical partnerships between humans and machines? The answer to that depends entirely on whether we, right now, choose to model what accountable innovation actually looks like.